funny. You get an idea and about the way things should work, and you get an idea about the way that things should come together in terms of sports. And specifically, as a guy who's watched MMA for many, many years, like many of us have, from a VHS stage, and from watching in Japan, and from watching initially what the UFC did, and wanting to do something different, wanting to do something where fighters could control their own destiny, wanting to do something where everything was about what happened inside the cage, where it wasn't about a special look or a special personality or any kind of a special treatment, or a guy sitting behind a desk in a shiny suit saying, you know what, this guy versus that guy, I can sell that to the networks. It was about pure sport, and it was about taking what in my mind is the greatest sport in the world and making it more like the other great sports that exist in the world, where the fighters control their own destiny. It's about nothing else except for performance, and performance dictates out. And we've been extremely lucky. We have put together 4 different weight classes in a tournament structure. We put it over 12 weeks. We created it in a way where there was flexibility, where if guys got injured or guys got a suspension from a commission, they could move. We could push fights back, and we could keep it together. Every single one of our fighters who has won his first 2 events has qualified and made it into the finals. It's worked. It can work in this sport. There isn't a reason why fighters shouldn't be able to control that destiny and make those decisions to get them to a championship. I feel strongly about it because I think that's the way sports should be. And we were blessed to have an opportunity here in this area of the country to find a fighter named Lyman Good, and to have people come to us and say, this is a world-class athlete, and this is a world-class athlete who has not yet been exposed to the world. This is a guy who, given the opportunity and given a fair setting where matchmaking is out of the equation, could conceivably beat anybody in the world and could become a champion. And he proved us right, and he proved himself.
First of all, want to just give a big thanks, not just to Revenue who gave me this opportunity. And first thing I want to also talk about a little bit is not just me as a fighter. All of us in here can attest to the fact that every one of us each have a story behind why we fight, a purpose behind why we fight as well. And one of the great things about this tournament is that it gives us an opportunity to get that out. Like he was saying before, it shouldn't be about the event. It should always be about the fighter, about what makes him who he is and what defines him as a fighter. And I always say to myself, it's something my coach, taught me a long time ago, is that it always comes down to your heart. Your heart, your passion, your mind, that's how you fight first. Everything physically, we all know that's about 10% of the fight. The rest is all mental, the rest is all heart, So
gracias a Lyman Good.
Thank you, Lyman Good,
por pelear conmigo.
for fighting with me.
Llegamos a la final demostrando los dos que somos buenos.
We both arrived at the finals, showing everybody that we're both very good.
Hay un ganador y un perdedor en la pelea. Yo perdí, pero me voy a preparar mucho mejor para la próxima vez.
There's always a winner and a loser in every fight, but I'm going to prepare myself for the future.
I noticed there's a lot of you in each event. How much easier does that make training and come fight night for you guys?
we look at each other, but kind of have that like brethren type of feel for each other because we train all the time together. In regards to how it helps us, it helps us a great deal because we understand each other as a fighter. And one thing that's that's important is the whole team effort of what we do. As fighters, we train together. We all help one another. And it's at times the training does become overbearing. You have your periods of times where when you're training, as any fighter, you always have your times where you kind of break down or you have your difficulties, but we're always there for each other, to push one another. There is no, I'm sure he can attest to that with the Marines, with the whole Army attitude that no one's left behind, When we train to push one another, we train to really go at it, and we push each other to try to be the best that we can, be as much prepared as possible. So the whole team element of it, definitely goes a long way as far as the results that we get from it, so it's definitely important.
Question for Jake. How did you come to take the fight today? How much notice did you have, and were you training for another fight?
Well, I was definitely in the gym because I'm consistently always training. So I found out late last night, that I was flying out this morning at 6 a.m. So it was quite last minute, but I jumped at the opportunity, and it was an honor to fight for Bellator, and so I thank them for giving me the opportunity. Yeah, I had a very short notice. I was told last night by my manager I was going to get on a flight at 6 a.m. weigh in I weighed in about 4 o'clock today, and ate and drank, and you know, I was training though. So like I said, I'm always training, and I'm always in the gym, so continuously learning. So there's never really an off period. But yeah, I was ready for it.
A question, where are you going to keep your belt?
It's actually a good question. I think because of the fact that I've been in, sleeping in my training facility for about a good 4 months or so, I think in commemoration of the efforts behind doing all that, I might just leave it there, because this is kind of, it's sort of an emblem of all of our hard work. Because again, it's a whole team thing. They've been there every step of the way with me, so I can just leave this there as a way or sort of an incentive to have everybody in our fight team look at it, and kind of give them that push to see where the efforts are going to lead to. Then I'll just leave it there.
I want one.
If you could fight one fighter right now, is there someone that you'd want to fight in the world?
Within the tournament, or you just?
In the world.
Just out of respect, probably GSP. GSP. I look up to many fighters. But going back to what I said a little bit, I always had that sense of non-complacency. So I'd always want to see myself trying to improve and get better, and always look at what's next and what's up ahead, what's the next task, what's the next level for me. And I definitely think, a little while from now, that it would definitely be a great pleasure to try to fight somebody of his caliber. Definitely GSP, because he kind of right now represents that mark, as far as a welterweight fighter, as far as his level of athleticism and everything. A lot of people look up to him as a fighter. So just out of respect, I would, to answer that question, would be George St. Pierre.